This unique and quite unusual attraction is Journey to Atlantis at SeaWorld Orlando. In its current age, SeaWorld is trying to carve itself out as a coaster park nestled neatly between Disney and Universal, right off of I-4. Atlantis, however, is a strange relic from a different time. It's an often underrated and overlooked attraction, and today I'm going to be telling its story and seeing what makes SeaWorld's first attempt in the dark ride market so compelling. Since SeaWorld's opening in 1973, it was a park focused on aquatic animals and shows that featured dolphins and orcas. While public perception has changed quite a bit on the ethics of keeping these animals in confined tanks, for its time it was a premier attraction in the Orlando area. Having only opened 2 years prior in 1971, Disney World's focus was on theming and rides at the Magic Kingdom. While certainly the largest draw for Central Florida tourism, it did lack the unique aspect of major aquatic animal exhibits. In the early days of Walt Disney World, Disney perceived any Orlando competition as a good thing. Anything that would help incentivize tourists to the area would be good for Disney, in that while people had a lot of good reasons to visit, the Magic Kingdom would always be on the travel itinerary. That's why SeaWorld was allowed to persist for so long without competition. Disney didn't need to invest money in large animal exhibits and shows that featured aquatic animals because Disney wanted to stick to its own ideas. However, this would change with the inception of Epcot Center. In its early conceptual stage, a pavilion based around ocean exploration and science was always in the works. While supposed to open with the park in 1982, it didn't make the cut. It was, however, still worked on, and with Michael Eisner and Frank Wells coming into the company in 1984, became a priority. With the management change, there was a new realization that the old Disney guard had been sitting on massive profit potential that they never tapped into. This included making Disney a competitor in Florida, and the Living Seas Pavilion became Disney's response to SeaWorld, helping to draw people away with its opening in 1986. SeaWorld was sold to Anheuser-Busch in 1989. Having owned and operated the Busch Gardens parks, the SeaWorld parks would now see new investments to keep them competitive. SeaWorld Orlando would receive its first ride, if you're not counting the Sky Tower, named Mission Bermuda Triangle in 1992. It was a simulator attraction similar to Star Tours, which opened in 1987 at Disneyland, and would later open in 1989 at Disney's MGM Studios. Mission Bermuda Triangle was rethemed with a new film to Wild Arctic, which opened only a few years later in 1995. However, a simulator attraction was not enough to compete with both Disney and the recently opened Universal Studios Florida. With Busch at the helm, development for a new and exciting attraction would be SeaWorld's big break into Orlando's theme park market, helping it to stay competitive. Journey to Atlantis is quite the unique attraction. Opening in 1998, the model is called the Water Coaster, produced by Mack Rides. The model combines elements of a traditional roller coaster with a flume ride. What is interesting about Atlantis is that a good portion of the attraction contains dark ride segments. The premise is that Atlantis has risen from the sea, and that you can embark on a small fishing boat to go explore its secrets. As the ride starts and you move through a Greek village, a seahorse is presented to you, turning into the Greek god Hermes as your guide. Your boat moves through a reef where you're beckoned forward by a mermaid named Allura, and Atlantis can be seen in the distance. As you travel closer to the city, the mermaid distorts menacingly. Still guided by Hermes, in the form of an animatronic seahorse, you make your way through and witness Allura transforming into the Gorgon Medusa. As you're about to travel up a lift hill for the drop, Medusa is encountered once again, and as you reach the top, doors open to the outside, revealing a fake-out. you travel up yet another lift hill, and finally plunge down into the water below. Turning around in the lagoon, guests have the option of paying to spray your boat as you go by, and the ride once again descends one last lift hill. Being pulled back into the city, you encounter one last scene of Medusa's shrine before plummeting into the dark on a piece of track in the shape of an S-curve, and finishing the ride in another splashdown. While the story of Journey to Atlantis isn't particularly complex or engaging, I can't help but really like it because it was such a different direction for SeaWorld. Unfortunately, the attraction came out of a seasonal refurbishment in 2017, but the animatronics and projection effects turned off, likely due to cost. SeaWorld's attendance had been hit pretty hard since the release of Blackfish in 2013, and by this point the park had moved in the direction of distinguishing itself from Disney and Universal by focusing more on coasters, as Mako had just opened in 2016. Still, Journey to Atlantis hadn't had the best reception, even before the axing of its story elements. So why am I interested in talking about this ride? Well, I think it's actually quite underrated. Yes, it doesn't do much in the story department, but it more than makes up for it with its impressive theming. I mean, just look at this facade. It's quite impressive, and the drop into the lagoon is a great way of teasing the attraction to guests and helping to build anticipation. The queue itself, while simple, is dressed appropriately to convey that you're moving through a Greek fishing village. The show scenes within the ride track also have beautiful set dressing, which I think is executed exceptionally well for an attraction not produced by Disney or Universal. The pacing too is great, as the mysterious reef and city of Atlantis help create a bit of tension for riders anticipating the drop, but is calm enough to also be a bit disarming. As you ascend the first lift hill, once again it's a fake out, helping to create even more tension on the second ascent. Once you've plummeted into the lagoon, a second short hill can unexpectedly soak riders, often more so than the first drop. As you ascend the last lift, the last show scene is creepy and unexpected, with the attraction dropping you down a coaster track also being quite a surprise. I think one of Atlantis' strengths is what it hides. Since you can only see that first drop from outside, this mysterious attraction hits riders with a lot of unexpected elements, whether that be the dark ride portions, the fake out lift, or the S-curve coaster track. While not particularly large, the show building does also include an aquarium adjacent to the gift shop you exit from. It's a neat little quirk that helps sell the atmosphere. And on that note, that's really another strength of the attraction. The ride creates such an exciting and mysterious sense of atmosphere that I'm surprised people are so eager to disregard this attraction. Atlantis sits right next to Kraken, an excellent B&M floorless coaster with a bit of light theming that complements the Atlantean atmosphere. Another excellent element of Atlantis is its music. While the original version of the attraction used music from the score of Beetlejuice, for some odd reason, coming out of the 2017 refurb, Atlantis now included music from one of SeaWorld's extinct shows titled Allure Call of the Ocean. The music, in my opinion, fits extremely well and helps to build the anticipation through numerous areas of the attraction. Was Journey to Atlantis a success for SeaWorld? Well, kind of. The idea of Atlantis is a powerful theme, and I can't help but wonder if it influenced Universal's decision to create Poseidon's Fury over at Islands of Adventure as a competing theme when that park first opened only a year later. It wouldn't surprise me if that were the case, and while both attractions are dated and not particularly popular, I can't help but really enjoy the atmosphere of both. Journey to Atlantis certainly helped boost SeaWorld attendance, but clearly as time has gone on, SeaWorld didn't perceive it as the success that it needed to be. SeaWorld Orlando dipped its toe into dark rides again with Antarctica Empire of the Penguin in 2013. An underwhelming trackless dark ride that is a bit sparse on content, it's okay enough, but clearly shows SeaWorld's lack of commitment to the dark ride market. Looking around today, you can clearly see it's carving out its niche through intense coasters. While Atlantis' heavy theming and atmosphere made a lot of sense for the Orlando market, that wasn't the case for the other SeaWorld parks. Due to a contract with Mock Rides, SeaWorld would have to build 2 other iterations of the water coaster at its 2 other parks. Journey to Atlantis at SeaWorld San Diego opened in 2004 with very little theming and worked more of the coaster elements in. The SeaWorld San Antonio version then opened in 2007, acting more as a shoot-the-chutes type of attraction. Clearly, SeaWorld did perceive the money to theme these as worth the cost, and while the iteration in Orlando makes a lot of sense because of the market it is in, SeaWorld Orlando is still going in a different direction. Journey to Atlantis stands as an interesting relic of theme park history. It's SeaWorld's enthusiastic attempt to tap into Disney and Universal's market share, but ultimately became a costly project not worth the upkeep. Now that SeaWorld has found its place as the coaster park of Orlando, I can't help but feel that this underrated attraction might not stick around much longer. What do you think of Journey to Atlantis, and if you've been on it, how does it stack up to anything produced by Disney or Universal? I'd be interested to hear your thoughts down in the comments. As always, if you enjoy my content, please be sure to hit the thumbs up on the video, and hit the subscribe button and bell notification so that you can be informed when a new video is released.